Okay, so tell me, number one, it says, do you use automatic translation software or tools? If so, tell us about your experiences. So here we have a word in bold. If so, it says. What does this refer to?
Maybe if the question is true.
Okay, okay. Anybody else?
Maybe it refers if we use one tool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good. Yes, both are correct. So if we use automatic translation software or tools. So, so se refiere a toda esta idea, right? Number two, we no longer need to buy bilingual dictionaries. Do you know anybody who uses one these days? What do we refer to with one?
Bilingual dictionary.
Bilingual dictionaries, right? Very good. Yes. Number three, but I think we need to be careful about things like automatic translation because obviously it wouldn't work with the case of sizes. What about this one? It says.
About
Automatic
automatic.
translation.
Automatic translation, very good. Number four, perhaps translation does not have the same importance as it once did. What about did?
The importance that translation once had.
Yes, very good. It have the same importance, right? Very good. What about number five? Sometimes we have to do the sizes too because they change depending on the country.
Sizes.
The sizes, we refer to the sizes with they, right? Very good. And the last one, this makes me realize that translation isn't just about translating word for word. This, what do we refer to when we say this?
Automatic translation.
This made me realize that translation isn't just about translating word by word. Okay, well, not exactly automatic translation, but the fact that we can't translate some things in the correct way, okay, this makes her realize that translation isn't just about translating word by word. Okay, so because there are some words that can be translated with this kind of softwares. Okay, so today we are going to learn about these words. So, one, it, did, they, this, okay? So we use all these words when we are referring back to something, okay? When we want to mention this again, but we don't want to repeat again the same idea or the same words, okay? So we are going to learn about these words in order to refer back or to substitute something, a word or could be a clause, okay? So pay attention. We sometimes can substitute nouns, okay, in order to not to repeat them, okay? So here we have one and once, okay? And here we have some sentences. We can use one and once when we want to substitute nouns, okay? And I want you to help me to complete these sentences with one or ones. Okay, for example, number 1, which is your car? The red or the blue? What can we say here?
One.
Yes, the red one or the blue one,
Number one.
right? And what are we referring to with these two?
Car.
Okay, car.
Yes, we are talking about the car, right? Yes, very good. Which is your car, the red one or the blue one? Very good. It says, my trousers are torn. I need some new
Ones.
ones, right? Very good. So we are referring to
Trousers.
trousers. Very good. Trousers, yes. What about this one? See those two girls? Helen is the
One.
One.
one on the left. So in this situation, we are referring to the girls, but especially we are talking about Helen.
Helen.
Very good. What about this one? You can borrow a book. Which
Once.
one do you
One.
want? Because we are talking about a book, right? So we are referring to one book. As you can see, we can use any of them. We can use once when we are talking in plural or one when we are talking in singular, okay? So we can use one or ones to replace singular or plural countable nouns, okay? And these are the words that we have before one or ones. As you can see, we have adjectives. So we can use adjectives before one or ones. For example, the red one or the blue one. These are adjectives, right? The same here, new ones. This is an adjective. What about this one? What is this? This word that we have here?
Helen.
Article
The number one or the
This one.
article?
What is this?
is article.
It's an article. So we can use an article before one or ones. And also we can use this WH question word, which ones or which one, okay? So we can use one or ones to replace nouns. So we don't repeat them again in the sentences, okay? Let's see another example. We also can use these words to replace nouns. Do you remember how do we call all these words? He, it, his, her, they. How do we call them?
Subject pronouns.
Subject pronouns. Are all of these subject pronouns?
Possessive pronouns.
Possessive. We have possessive too, right? Okay, very good. So we can use pronouns in general, okay, to replace nouns. Okay, here we have some other sentences, and I want you to help me to complete the sentences with the pronouns that we have here, okay, in the little box. For example, do you remember Julia? I saw her yesterday in the market. Very good. Number 2, I can't find my earrings.
They are
They are
Well, we are referring to Julia, right? They are lost, right? And here we are referring to earrings, right? Remember that when we talk about objects, okay, when we talk about a thing, we use it. But when this thing, this object is in plural, we use they, not it, okay? What about this one? Your dog is so cute.
it seems
It, right? It seems always happy. Remember that we use it for animals, but some people, when they are, I don't know, so close to this pet, they use he or she, okay? But generally for animals, we use it. So we are referring to the dog, right? He's my brother.
His name.
His name.
His name is Lucas, and
He was.
he was
He was.
looking forward to meeting you. Very good. Okay. So I want you to tell me what kind of adjectives, sorry, what kind of pronouns can you see here in the sentences? What kind of pronouns can we see here? For example, this one. What kind of pronoun do we have here? Or for example, this one. What kind of pronoun is this one?
Tercera persona.
Okay. But what kind of pronoun do we have here? We have different kind of pronouns, right? Your partner mentioned them at the beginning. What kind of pronouns do we have here? They and he. Subject pronouns. Very good. So we can use subject pronouns or personal pronouns to replace nouns. Okay, very good. We can use, what are the subject pronouns or the personal pronouns? Can you name them?
He,
He,
she,
she,
we.
they, we, I, you.
He, she,
Okay,
they.
these are personal pronouns or subject pronouns. Then we have object pronouns. Which of the ones that we have here do you think are object pronouns?
It. Or his.
This one is an object pronoun. What do you think? Object pronoun? Yes or no?
I think.
What is the difference between personal pronouns or subject pronouns and object pronouns? What is the difference? Any ideas? I want you to check this. This is something important. So?
That the object is something of that person and the personal, or no?
No. Anybody else? So which of these are personal pronouns? What do you think? And which of them are object pronouns? Estos cuatro que acabo de subrayar, de encerrar.
Personal pronouns maybe is to replace names or nouns. Possessive.
Okay, we are talking now, we are not talking about possessive, okay? We are talking about personal pronouns and object pronouns. Okay, so which of the ones that we have here are personal pronouns? Personal.
Personal pronouns are the actors in the sentences, teacher.
Very good. So which of them? Which of them are personal pronouns?
Which of them? Julia.
No, these are nouns. We are talking about
Teacher, he, they.
It's he.
They is a
they.
personal pronoun. He is a personal pronoun. Any other?
No.
No?
You.
It.
And it is a personal pronoun. Okay? Her is an object pronoun.
Object.
What is the difference between the personal pronouns and the object pronoun? What can you see in these 4 sentences? What is the difference?
That personal pronouns is an active voice, and the object pronoun is a passive voice.
The personal pronouns is before the verb and the object pronouns is after.
Very good. Yes. As you can see here, the object pronoun is after the verb, and the personal pronoun is before the verb. As Jenny said, the subject pronoun or personal pronoun is the person or thing who does the action, who performs the action. That's why the verb is after, okay? And the object pronoun is the one who receives the action. So that's why is after the verb. So the subject pronouns or personal pronouns before the verb, okay? And the object pronouns after the verb, okay? So this is the difference. And then we have also the possessive pronouns. When do we use possessive pronouns? Possessive pronouns. For example, this is a possessive pronoun, his. When do we use possessive pronouns? Possessive, when do we use possessive pronouns?
When we talk about something of that person,
Okay, anybody else? Possessive pronouns. When we say that something belongs to someone, right? When we say that something belongs to someone. Cuando decimos que algo le pertenece a alguien. Okay, so this is possessive. So you said that the personal pronouns or the subject pronouns were he, she, it, they, you, and I, right? And we. What about the object pronouns? Do you remember the object pronouns?
her, him,
For he, what is the object pronouns for he?
His,
his,
Him.
oh no, him,
him,
Right? What about she?
Her,
Her, very good. It,
it's,
its, they,
their,
no, their, no,
mm,
Them.
them. We,
Us.
us. Very good, yes. So we have him, her, it, them, and us. What about the possessive for he? Possessive for he.
Is.
His. For she,
Her.
her. For it,
it's,
its. For they,
their,
There.
for we.
Our.
our,
Very good. So this is the difference, right? So we have the personal, that these personal pronouns go before the verb, okay? Then we have the object pronouns. The object pronouns go after the verb, okay? And then we have possessive pronouns when we are describing that something belongs to someone, okay? So these are the three different kind of pronouns. Well, we have more, but we are going to use them to replace the nouns. ¿Ok? Vamos a utilizarlos para reemplazar los sustantivos. Por ejemplo, Julia, earrings, dog, and brother. ¿Ok? Any questions about this? Okay, let's continue. So, we can also use auxiliary verbs to avoid repetition of verbs. Okay, you can use, in this lesson, we are going to use any form of the auxiliary do. Okay, could be in the past or in the present. Okay, so to avoid repetition of verbs. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Here we have, he doesn't want to go to the party, but I do. So what are we replacing here?
Go.
doesn't want to go to a party.
Yes, very good. We are replacing want to go to the party. Okay, doesn't want to go to the party, doesn't want. So, para no repetir, but I want to go to the party, we say but I do. Okay, so we don't repeat again the verb. Okay, so let's move to the next one. We prepare all the food for tonight. We did the desserts as well. So what are we avoiding to repeat here?
Prepared.
Prepared. So we don't repeat, we prepared the desserts as well. We say we did the desserts as well. Okay? So to avoid repetition of verbs, we use the auxiliary verb here, do or did, according to the tense of the sentence. Okay? Let's go to the next example. So one to go, here we have, and prepare. Okay, so we can also replace clauses. Okay, do you remember what is a clause? What is a clause? Any ideas of what is a clause?
Is a sentence.
The
Not,
first part of a conditional sentence.
okay, could be. Any other ideas? What is a clause? It's not exactly a sentence. It's similar to a sentence, okay? Take notes. A clause is a group of words, and this group of words contains a subject and a verb, okay? A subject and a verb. But in one sentence, we can have more than one clause, okay? For example, I'm going to give you an example. This is a sentence, right? How many clauses do you think we have in this sentence? How many clauses? Remember that two, right? Which one is the first one?
We prepare.
Prepare the food for tonight.
Yes, we prepare the food for tonight. This is the first clause. Okay, remember that a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. And as you can see in this clause, we have a subject, we, and we have a verb, prepare. And we have a second clause here. Tenemos una segunda clause. We did the desserts as well. Okay, and in this clause, we also have a subject and we also have a verb. Tell me, Laura Hermosilla, what is a clause? Laura Hermosilla, what is a clause? Your microphone is off. Your microphone. Laura Hermosilla? You are not paying attention, Laura. Pay attention to the class. Okay, so anybody else? What can you tell me? What is a clause? So Laura can listen and can take notes. Laura, take notes. Juliana, tell me please, what is a clause?
Group of words that contain subject and verb.
Yes, a group of words that contains a subject and a verb, right? Okay, tell me guys, what is the difference between a sentence and a clause? What is the difference between a sentence and a clause?
That the clause have more than a clause.
The clause have more than a clause?
That the
Have
sentence
more
can contain more
sentence.
clauses.
Yes, in one sentence, we can have one clause or we can have more than one clause. As you can see in this example. Si borramos esta parte de la oración, esto es una oración, ¿cierto? We prepare all the food for tonight. But in one sentence, we can have more than one clause. We can have one or more. Okay, so this is the difference between a sentence and a clause. Okay, so any questions about clauses? So we can continue. Any doubts about clauses? Okay, so we can replace clauses too in order to avoid repetition. Okay, how can we do this? We can replace clauses with if so, if not, or either way. Okay, so if you don't want to repeat the whole clause, you need to replace this with these expressions. Okay, for example, I might be away next week. If so, I won't be able to see you. So as you can see, with if so, we are replacing the whole clause. Para no repetir la clause completa, para no decir, por ejemplo, I might be away next week. If I am not away next week, I won't be able to see you. Okay, para no repetirlo, utilizamos if so. Okay, here we have another one. The pilot knew exactly what to do. If not, the plane would have crashed. So, to avoid repetition, we use if not. And here we have another one. I am not sure if I will take the bus or train, but either way, I will be there tonight. Okay? So, to avoid the repetition of the whole clause, we use if so, if not, or either way. Okay? Any questions about this?
To avoid the clause of we prepare all the food for tonight, we can avoid it, no?
Again, please.
In the second sentence, in the sector of auxiliary to, we can avoid them, no? In the second clause, I refer.
In the second clause. If the sentence, maybe if the sentence were another, yes, we can avoid the clause, the first clause. But in this case, to continue the sentence, we need to use an auxiliary verb. Okay, yes. But if the sentence were another, yes, we can replace the whole clause with any of the expressions here. Okay? Any other ideas? Any other questions?
Teacher, what's the difference between if so and if not?
Okay. The difference is, for example, por ejemplo, esta es positiva. Si pasa esto, si pasa de que yo no estoy aquí la siguiente semana, yo no voy a verte. Si pasa, esto es para positivas, pero esto es para negativas. Por ejemplo, el piloto sabía exactamente qué hacer. Si él no supiera lo que había que hacer, el avión se estrellaría o se hubiese estrellado. ¿Ok? Entonces, esto es para oraciones afirmativas, para oraciones negativas, y este es para cuando tenemos dos opciones. ¿Ok? Por ejemplo, aquí tenemos dos opciones, the bus or train. But either way, cualquiera de las dos, si yo tomo el bus o yo tomo el tren, yo voy a estar ahí en la noche. ¿Ok? Entonces, if so, for affirmative sentences, when you want to repeat an affirmative sentence, when you want to repeat a negative sentence or when you want to refer to a negative sentence or a statement, if not. And when you have two options, you can say either way, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's go back to the book, okay? Here in the book, we have the grammar panel, and we are going to complete it. Okay, it says, replace the words that have been crossed out in exercises number 1 to 9 with an appropriate substitution. Do you use substitutions in a similar way in your language? So, let's see here. When we substitute nouns, remember when we substitute nouns, it says to avoid repetition of nouns, we can substitute the noun with one when we are talking about singular countable nouns. Okay, we can also use some or any when we are talking about plural and countable nouns. Okay, remember that we use some for affirmative sentences. Take notes. Some for affirmative sentences. And we use any for questions and negative sentences. Okay? Any for questions and negative sentences. Some for affirmative sentences. Okay? But there is an exception with some. Okay? When we are offering something, we can use some in a question. Okay? Cuando ofrecemos algo, podríamos utilizar some en la pregunta. Por ejemplo, would you like some tea? Would you like some coffee? Okay, so when we are offering something, we can use some in a question. Okay, so pay attention to that. Let's see here. It says, do you know anybody who uses a dictionary? So we need to replace a dictionary and we use one to replace it. Do you know anybody who uses one these days? I used to use all kind of dictionaries, but I don't use, what can we say here?
Some.
Any because negative?
Because it's negative. Very good. Remember that we use any in negative sentences. So we have here the negative verb. We use any. I don't use any at all. Very good. Number 2. We can also use pronouns. Remember the pronouns? So I don't understand German very well. How can we replace German with a pronoun?
It.
It. Very good. I don't understand it very well. The next one. Sometimes it's a good idea to have a real person, like a fellow worker, confirm the translation. How can we replace the translation in this sentence?
Confirm the it or
Confirm it, right? Very good. For you, you know, your fellow worker, how can you complete this? Your fellow worker he or she, right? Maybe your fellow worker, su compañero de trabajo, puede ser mujer o hombre. So we can replace this for he or she, right? So let's see here. He or she. Can tell you if the translation's right or wrong. How can we replace the translation?
It.
It is right or wrong. Okay, very good. So remember, we can use one, once, any, or some to replace nouns. Okay, and we can use pronouns also to replace nouns. Okay, any questions about this part? Any doubts until here? No? Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the next part. Here we have substituting verbs and clauses. To avoid repetition of verbs, we can use a form of the auxiliary do. okay? For example, we translate our sale posters. We
Do.
do, right? Because we are replacing translate in the present simple. We do the sizes of the clothes as well. Okay, the next one. It is also possible to substitute whole clauses with expressions such as, I'm going to show you the expressions, such as, in that case, we can also use in that case, is the same as if so. In that case, and if so, the meaning is exactly the same. Okay, we can use also if not, and we can use also either way. Okay, so we can use these 4 expressions to replace clauses. Okay, number 1, it says, usually it's a technical term that I need to know. So the translation software is okay. If it isn't a technical term, what can you
If
say?
not,
Not.
If not, because it's a negative sentence. Very good. If not, so we can replace this with if not, I might ask someone in the office who's bilingual. Okay, very good. Then we have here referring back. It says, I forgot to show you this on the pictures, but then I'm going to show you. Let me show you, okay? So we can also use this and that when we are referring back. Okay, what does it mean? For example, yesterday I ate too much. That make me feel sick. Okay, as you can see, with that, I am referring to this activity that I ate too much. Okay, and also I can use this. Okay, you are not eating anything. This makes me think that you don't like my food. Okay, so with this and that, we can refer back to the previous activity. Okay, so we are going to do exactly the same here in the book. It says to refer back to earlier ideas in the text, we can use this or that. Okay? Number 9, it says, the fact that clothes have labels showing different sizes for different countries makes me realize that translation isn't just about translating word for word. So, what do you think we can use here to replace all this idea?
That.
That
This.
or this, right? And this, we can use this or we can use that. According to the context, okay? Depende de cómo lo estén diciendo, podrían utilizar this or that. Remember that we use this when something is closer and that when something is far. Okay, so si acaban de decirlo, pueden decir this, o si es algo que pasó mucho antes, pueden decir that. Okay, en esta situación, como acabamos de decirlo, podríamos utilizar this. Okay, so let's practice a little bit this on page 120. Let's go to the grammar part on page 120. And here you have also the explanation. So I would like you to read this at home very carefully. And if you have questions, then you can ask. Okay, so here you have the whole explanation. But today we are going to do exercise number 1.2. Okay, on page 120. It says, rewrite the conversation substituting the words involved with a pronoun or other word or phrase from the chart. Okay, so you need to use all these words from the chart that we have here to replace these words in bold. Okay? Number 1. How did the book launch go? The book launch was a great success. There were a lot of people there. How can we replace the book launch here?
Will be it.
With it.
It. We can use
It
it,
was.
right? Very good. It was a great success. Very good. Number 2, did the people buy any books? How can we replace the people here?
Did they?
Them.
They.
Did them.
They, because it's
They.
before the main verb, right? Did they? Very good. Did they buy any books? No, but we did take a lot of orders. Some of the orders were from bookstores. How can we replace some of the orders here?
They.
They? Do you agree, guys? They?
Some.
Yeah. Some, right? We can say some were from bookstores. Some were from bookstores. And one of the orders was from a school. Congratulations. How can we replace one of the orders? One of the orders. How can we replace all this phrase?
One of them.
One. Directamente one. One was from a school. Okay? So we are going to use all these words to replace these nouns. Okay? So let's do exercise B here. Complete the sentences using do, does, or did. Use a negative form where necessary. Number 1, I didn't study any foreign languages at school, unfortunately. But I think Hans
Did.
Did.
did. Very good. We use did because the sentence here is in the past, right? Very good. Number 2, when my parents were in school, everybody had to study a foreign language. But nowadays, many school children
Didn't.
Didn't.
again, please, many school children
Didn't.
Didn't.
Don't.
don't, right? Not doesn't, because we are not talking about third person. School children is they don't. Why we use present and not past? Why?
Because it said nowadays.
Very good, because it says nowadays, in these days, actualmente, nowadays. Okay, this is in the past, but nowadays, many school children don't, right? Number 3, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question, but Rosa probably
Doesn't.
does. Very good. Rosa probably does. We are talking in the present, and we are talking about the third person, Rosa. She probably does, right? Very good. Number 4, the main entrance closes at midnight, but the side entrance
Doesn't.
doesn't. Very good. Okay, doesn't. Why? Why do we use doesn't here? Why doesn't?
Because we are talking in present.
Okay.
We are talking about the main entrance and the side entrance.
Okay, and this is the third person singular in the present, right? It doesn't. ¿Cómo podemos reemplazar entrance, la entrada, con it? ¿Cierto? But it doesn't. The side entrance, la entrada de al lado, no cierra. ¿Ok? Para no repetir doesn't close, podemos decir solamente doesn't. Very good. Very good. Any questions, please? If you have any doubts about this. No? Okay, let's continue practicing. Okay?